Alright, I'm going to give this one a third try at recording. First things first, I'm working on a laptop, so I'm going to set my screen to full screen mode. Most likely right now, you can see your name of the file itself. Colson A. Gravatar, yours should be your last name. Underscore first initial underscore Gravatar. Remember, we made this file in the last series of videos. If you missed that quest or that video for some reason, you can go back and check it out because I did update some of those videos. This is a 1000 by 1000 pixel web artboard, so if you wanted to get that started and title it correctly, you can. I am going to switch to full screen view, Command 0, so that I can see my whole document. Now we're going to start off with the layers palette. Now even though your panels may or may not look like all of mine, you can adjust them. Again, I showed you how to do that in the last quest as well. You may have set your own custom workspace. Fantastic. If not, you might want to do that at some point as well. That can be saved. Now ultimately though, right now you just need to make layers visible. Okay? For your layers panel, right now if it's down at the bottom, click it to make it a little larger. I drug mine up as well to make sure I have plenty of room. I'm going to double click this to title it Background. There we go. Now I have my background layer. That's going to be standard in Photoshop. We're going to add it ourselves in Illustrator. Layers are extremely important in both Photoshop and Illustrator in how we organize our files and, well, even how they impact our design sometimes. So make sure that we are aware we're going to be using layers a lot in both programs, even though Photoshop and Illustrator are very, very different from each other. Now, if we come over and take a look at our toolbar, we're going to be using the rectangle tool. Yes, there are 6 different tools located in that spot if you hold your mouse down. We want just the generic plain rectangle tool. Now, we also want to control the color of the rectangle or the background that we're going to create. This is my fill and stroke color, and right now it's set to the default of white and black. Now I want to change my fill color, so let's make sure it's active, so not the stroke but the front fill color is active, and one click doesn't do anything, but double click and you will open the color picker. This is where I can choose any color that I would like to essentially set for my background, but technically it's the fill color. I'm going to use kind of a turquoise color here, so you can see you choose your color, then you can choose the value version of that. I kind of like that one, okay. And you can see my fill is set to turquoise. Now, I do not want a stroke or outline attached to my shape. So for this, rather than changing the color, I'm going to select none. By a single click there, I get that do not sign. So now there will not be an outline stroke on my rectangle. That's going to be one of the things I look for right away to see if you are carefully following these instructions or not. With that set as my fill and stroke, which you can see and change both up here in your options bar and over here in the color bar, if you expand that with 1-2 clicks, there's my fill and stroke. A few different options. I'm now going to create a rectangle that covers the entire artboard. If I start up the top left corner and you hover right over that corner, you'll see where it says intersect. See if I can zoom in. See, there you go. Intersect. That is what is called a smart guide. If for some reason you are not seeing your smart guides show up, you can see mine are magenta. I think yours will be too. If you do not see yours, come up to view and make sure that smart guides are checked. Okay, these are very helpful a lot of times. Now, there are certain instances where they're kind of frustrating, so we might turn them off, but I'm going to shrink my board down a little bit. Right now, I make sure that I start right there at the corner where I get that perfect intersection. While starting at my intersection, I'm going to click and drag all the way down to the opposite corner. Again, with Smart Guides on, I'm going to get intersection, and I can release it. I now have a rectangle that is the perfect size of my background artboard. To confirm this, I can even come up and grab the selection tool, the black arrow, and if I come over here, you have several options up here, but on transform, you can see that it's going to say 500 pixels by 500 pixels because the reference point is the middle. So it's going 500 pixels in each direction, and the actual size of my rectangle is a perfect 1000 pixels by 1000 pixels. Hey, is it? If it is, that means you made your artboard the correct size to start with. Alright, if not, you might need to go back. We are in the process of creating a gravatar, also known as a globally recognized avatar. It needs to be a 1000 pixel web-based document. Okay, this is what's going to kind of be our the image that represents our character in the game. We will be able to update it later, but for now, that's how we're going to get started. Now we're ready to move on and create a new layer to start the next component. I almost forgot, before we make our new layer, we want to lock our background layer. So if you come to the layers palette again, there's going to be two things you can see. One is the visibility icon that can make the entire layer visible or hidden, but two is this empty space right next to it. And if you click, you'll see you get a little padlock. That padlock means the layer is locked. It's uneditable. Notice that I get that little do not sign. Rectangle, do not sign. Pen tool, do not sign. It is locked, meaning that I won't accidentally move it or change anything about the background, which is an ideal situation for our background, especially oftentimes, but especially in this scenario. Now we're ready to move on to that new layer.